Hi everyone and welcome to Club2 episode 13 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. What a difference a few good results can make. We are currently on a really good run of form. Since the last episode, we've played 3 or 4 matches and won them all. They were against lower sides in the division, down in the bottom really. The likes of Port Stewart and Institute are both sitting in the bottom 2 positions in the league. So that was good, but we rotated the squad a bit, and morale and momentum is high at the moment. It's going to kind of need to be. We played Carrick today. Carrick were due to win this division in terms of the media preview, but they're struggling a little bit down in 7th. Still dangerous though. Let's see how we get on. Welcome back to Ballad of Mallard, second tier of Northern Irish football, 3rd season into the save at the moment, and it's actually going amazingly well. We sit top of the league by 2 points over Ballyclare, who we drew with in the last episode, if you remember, but since then, we've had some decent fixtures, to be honest. We played Dergview, Institute, Port Stewart and Bangor, and we won all 4 of those games. Looked pretty good doing it, rotated the team a little bit here and there, only by the odd goal in each of the games. So we're not outscoring people by miles, but we are digging out results and looking pretty strong. Until today, of course, we're back on an episode, so it's bound to go wrong. But you can see that actually, other than a couple of early losses in the league campaign, we've actually been doing really well this season. The summer transfer window was good. I feel like we supplemented the squad really well, but we kept a settled first team side out. Our number 11 is basically the same as it was last year, primarily in a lot of ways. So there hasn't been a lot of change, and that's kept consistency levels high, I think. It's really made an improvement. We have actually also changed the tactical style just a little bit as well. Remember from last episode, we moved Crook up on the right-hand side and just played a slightly more adventurous attacking 4-4-2 version of what we were playing before. And everybody's doing pretty well. You can see that there's lots of 7+ average ratings through the first team currently, as it looks like. There's only a couple of players now that haven't had any game time at all this season. Most have been rotated in to get a little bit of game time here and there, including a couple of our real youngsters who's still in the side today. We've got the problem that Smith, our right fullback, is just a little bit jaded, having come back from an injury. So we're having to play Willis at right fullback, our 16-year-old. He's not brilliant, but nobody is at this particular level. But he's got good aggression and bravery, good decision making, a little bit of natural fitness and balance. So there's a couple of good things in there. We'd like some improvements elsewhere, but he's 16 years old. So if we can get him a little bit of game time here and there, then he really will do that. And so far, he hasn't really performed brilliantly well. He's got a 6.6 average rating for the first game or so that he's played. But he is 16 years old, so we're going to have to play him today. But he's also playing alongside another 16-year-old in defence in Aidan Black, who really has taken his chance. 7.53 average rating from a couple of games that he's played, keeps his place in the side. Now, you remember last episode, we talked a little bit about the fact that Armstrong was not particularly blessed with pace. And Aidan Black has got a little bit more, not a lot, from 6 from Armstrong to 10 with Aidan Black, and I feel that's just helping him out just a little bit. But again, at 16 years old, with 16 determination, 19 teamwork, some reasonable physicals, if we can improve some of his technicals, I think we've got a really, really great young player on our hands here. And he gets another chance today against a better opposition in Carrick. We have really struggled against the higher-ups in this division so far. The likes of Dundela have done us in a couple of times. We got a draw against Ballyclare. So we're doing all right, but occasionally one of those teams comes along, and Carrick is one of them that have previously absolutely dumped all over us, to be honest. And we need to find a way to get back at them and compete with them better. And today is our chance. So there's nothing else much to tell you about, particularly in this particular episode. We're just focusing in on this one game. And there's nothing happened other than a good couple of results between the two episodes. So that's all good. So for today's game against Carrick, away from home, tricky, but away from home, we'll see whether we can get a competitive performance. We're going in with Hogg in goal, Willis and Curry in the fullback positions, Black and McCann in central defence, Grace and McKee in central midfield, Crook on the right, Burns on the left, and Banda and Shearer up top, with a bench of Armstrong, Parker, Moore, McLaughlin and Kelly. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So in previous matches against the likes of Carrick, who in theory are supposed to be up the top of the table and aren't quite at the moment, but in theory are supposed to be. In matches gone by, we've pumped the fist, we've tried to rile them up, we've challenged them to go and get upset wins, all that kind of stuff. Today, we're not going to quite do that. We're on a very good run of form, so I just want to find a way to just keep them moving in that direction. So we've gone with outstretched arms, very positive gesture, and just said to them, go out there, relax, play your natural game, the result will come. Potentially, we are in the best form that I've seen any of my teams in FM22. Can we keep that going against a tricky side? They are a tricky side. I think they're underperforming this season, which always worries me when we come to play them because they usually pick up their performance. And after 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, they have done just that. I told you, I knew this was going to happen today. We've got an underperforming opposition who are supposed to be top of the table, aren't at the moment, and they've now got 1-0 up after 2 minutes against us. Of course they have. That's always going to be the way it works out, isn't it? But we've got plenty of time to get back in the game. No need to panic at all at this point. The formation that we've changed slightly with Crook further up on that right-hand side has been much more beneficial to us, actually. We're still getting some support play around them, but having him further up and really charging at that fullback a little bit more than he was, and there's another evidence of it, that he was pushing up, trying to press them, has really helped us a lot over the last couple of games. Burns picks up a very loose ball from Carrick there, and we get to recycle possession for ourselves, and he takes over again. There is Crook on the right-hand side, puts it through to Banda. A nice shot, bottom corner, but the goalkeeper was kind of there already, and he palms it round for a corner kick. Really probably should have caught it and just gathered it up, but didn't quite. We didn't get anything from the corner kick, but we now get a free kick just outside the box. Burns is usually pretty decent from these, and he puts it on target. The goalkeeper parries it out. Banda is the first one to respond. Our striker gets to the ball first and hooks the ball back across the goal into the back of the net. As long as there's no offside, as long as Banda didn't go too early, and he didn't, we could see that very quickly. That's a really good goal. And again, it comes from some form of involvement from Burns, who is still doing really very, very well for us this season. A real creative influence and a lot of experience in his game at 31 years old. Considering we've now got a couple of 16-year-olds around the squad, etc., it's not bad to have a couple of those slightly older players that can bring some experience and some calmness to the play. And he's doing that very well for us this season. So 35 minutes in now, we are absolutely back in the game. 1-1 leading up to half-time. You can see that it's been very, very even, really. Fairly even possession. A similar amount of shots at goal and on target for both sides. The XG ratings are not too dissimilar. And I think a 1-1 draw at this point in the game looks to be pretty much spot on. The question now, of course, is how do we change that for the second half? How do we find a way to charge out of the pack, as it were, and become the dominant force in the game? So, firstly, we'll go into the dressing room. We're just going to encourage them at this point. We're not going to put any more pressure on them. We're going to go outstretched arms. Which one shall we use? Keep playing the way you are, the result will come. I think we came back into it in the latter part of the second half, which was positive. So that's the reason why we're going to use that momentum moving forward kind of team talk to continue what we're doing. But when we get back in there, we are actually going to demand more from them. What came up there? I didn't mean to do that. That's what I wanted to do. Demand more from the entire team, just to get the focus in the play again, so we don't get off to as bad a start as we did in the first half. Having said that, after a couple of minutes, it is Carrick on the ball again, so it is possible that we're going to have to do this the hard way if this particular attack comes to something. They've kept it nicely, but you can see we've got plenty of players behind the ball. They do find a gap to shoot through, And they do it very well. They do cause the goalkeeper some issues. He has to parry it over the top of the bar for a corner. The corner comes in and they get another attempt, but that goes straight over the top of the bar. Nobody else touched it. It goes out for a goal kick. So in the end, we survived that particular section of play. Can we now find ourselves back into the game? We need to up that possession stat just a little bit if we can and start to dominate the game just a smidge more if we can. But again, everything is very, very even. Their XG rating is higher than us. Again, the goalkeeper has to parry it out. And again, for us, the defender is there this time to boot it clear, which is good off that long-range free kick. The time is actually going very quickly. We've just gone past 70 minutes, so we'll have to make a couple of changes in a minute. All the highlights, unfortunately, this half so far have come to Carrick, and they're in again, and they put it wide again. They're wasting their chances. Now is the chance for us to try and do something about this, really. Got a couple of issues that we have to sort out here. A yellow card for our youngster at the back. Unfortunately, we don't have our right fullback on the bench today, as we've already spoken about, so he's probably going to have to play. McKee in central midfield, though, picked up a little bit of a knock. They think he can shrug it off, but I don't need him to. He's also got a yellow card, and we've got his direct replacement, Zach Moore, on the bench, so we'll bring him in for the last little section of the game. We've got Shearer up front, Patrick Shearer not having the best of days today. We've got Kelly on the bench, so we'll make that change. And then we've got a decision to make, really. We've got a couple of guys at the back that could probably do with coming out. You'd quite like to make a slightly more attacking change. We've got Burns not at his best today at a 6.6, and his replacement, McLaughlin, is on the bench. Or we take out somebody like Curry at the back, who's got a yellow card and a poor rating. I think I might do that, to be honest. I think because we've changed a central midfielder and a striker, I think we will take somebody out at the back as well. It would normally be Willis. It's going to have to be Curry because of who we've got available to us. And we'll just make that change. And we're just going to try and find a way in the tactic to see if we can get a little bit more possession of the ball. So if we go into in possession, at the moment, what we've got is we've got standard tempo and we've got the passing directness. Now, in theory, if we reduce the passing directness, you'd imagine that we'd keep the ball better. It doesn't always work that way because the players aren't always as good at doing it. What I'm actually going to do is try and get on the front foot a little bit more than we were. And to do that, we're going to raise the passing up just slightly, but we're also going to raise the tempo just a little bit as well. We could shoot on sight. That will give us a few early shots, but they're going to be slightly lesser ones, maybe. Or we can try and work it into the box. And if we work it into the box, we'll get better opportunities, but fewer of them. With 15 minutes to go, I feel like on this occasion, we need to kind of pepper the goal a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go with the shoot on sight version. And we'll just see whether that can get us anything in the remaining 15 minutes of this second half. Just a couple more opportunities at goal, put them under some pressure a little bit and see whether we can find anything from that. You can see that the game still remains very, very balanced. They've got a better XG than us now. They've advanced that a little bit. But most other statistics for the game are very even. It looks like we're going to play out a 1-1 draw. We didn't really get the chances that I hoped we would in that last 10 minutes or so. We only had maybe one more shot at goal. But in the end, it's a creditable 1-1 draw away from home against a decent side in this division. It just feels like one of those games where, because they've messed themselves up a little bit and had several shots at goal that they didn't really get on target and really put us under enough pressure, that maybe we should have done a little bit more with it. But having said that, I mean, look at the yellow cards that we got. We were on a little bit of a knife edge with that, and we came out with a point, which is not too bad at all. Does that keep us at the top of the table? Let's go find out. So here's a sign of some of the slight mixed messages that we can get from our reports at times. It was suggested that McKee, who was on the pitch, could shake off the injury and carry on. And he probably could have to get through the remainder of the 90 minutes. But his injury, it was a damaged heel that's going to keep him out from 9 days to 2 weeks. If we'd have continued to play him, that could have been a lot worse potentially. So I think it's always relatively sound advice to err on the side of caution, really, and try and remove those players players as much as is possible, even if it's suggested that they can carry on. So he's out for a couple of weeks. We've got a couple of players that can step in, which is fine. In terms of the league itself, let's go and have a look at that briefly. You'll see that we do stay top of the table. Nobody behind us really managed to make any inroads on us, which is really good. And everything's looking pretty decent. The only thing that you would say at the moment that we need to improve on is still our goal difference. If we're sitting top of the table, it's okay to win these games by an odd goal here and there, but sometimes we're going to have to open that up a little bit and try and get a few more goals under our belt and become a little bit more comfortable in some of these games, because otherwise, occasionally those 1-1 draws that we can turn into a 2-1 win, occasionally will stay like today in the 1-1 draw. And very occasionally, the opposition will potentially go and get a goal and win it in the last few seconds themselves. So we need to just become a little bit more structured in front of goal, a little bit more clinical in front of goal, and just boost that rating. I mean, the two teams behind us, Ards and Ballyclare, have got +12 and +19 goal difference, and ours is only a +4. Now, of course, the only thing that really matters is that we've got the points over them just at the moment. But that can turn on a knife edge. And I do feel like we need to be a little bit more consistent in front of goal if we can. But all in all, at the moment, things are going very, very nicely. Next up for us is, let's go and have a look. Let's go. I don't know why I was looking on that page to see who was coming up next for us. We have to go into this page. Loughgall coming up, a real rival of ours. We've had some proper battles with them over the last few seasons. But what I am going to do is I'm going to come back fairly early. I've got 2 more episodes I want to do in this section of the season. Before the last game here, it then splits the league into 2, and the top half sides play each other to see who becomes the champion. So there's another 10 matches to add on to this current schedule. But what I want to come back for is only in a couple of games' time. We play Loughgall in the league and then Distillery in the cup. We then play Dundela. And I want to come back to Dundela because we are now on a very good run of form. If we can keep that going through Loughgall and Distillery, early in the season, Dundela beat us in one of the other cup competitions and then also beat us in the league as well. We come back for our home match against them, and I'd like to get a little bit of revenge on them if it's entirely possible. Now, of course, that might not happen. We know how Football Manager can be sometimes, but that's the intention. So that's why we're going to come back for that. If you're interested in that, and if you're enjoying the series so far, that's fantastic. I'd love to have you along for company in the next episode. You could also subscribe to the channel. That would help you keep up to date with the videos that I release. Maybe even click that notification bell. That will really get you up on exactly when I'm releasing stuff. You could also click a like button on this particular episode. That will help me grow the channel, get more eyes on the product a little bit more, which will be fantastic. If you could do those 2 things for me, that would be awesome. There's also a bunch of links in the description below that can take you to my Twitter and my Discord. There's a Patreon if you wanted to become a patron of the channel as well. That would be ridiculously good in every way possible. There's a merch store. There's some more merch coming very, very soon, so I'll let you know about that at some point soon. So there's lots of good stuff to check it out, and come and play a bigger part in the United City community. And remember, I'm also over on twitch.tv/the United City FM every weekday afternoon, 3 till 5 p.m. UK time, doing a Nordic Glory Hunter save over there. So come and check all of that out, play a bigger part in my community. But for now, thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Hope you have an awesome day, whatever is left of it for you. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.